Welcome to Wolfcroft, stories based on true people, events and happenings in history, or just some fun adventure, suspense chilling thrillers, or just a short fictional story. You came to the right place. If this is your second time listening, please do not forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you won't miss out on new stories. And if you like this one, please don't forget to hit the like button. For now, let's get into it.
Scrambled by KJ GROWLING. Part 2. Barricade. From KJ GROWLING's private notebook, unpublished, undated, found later. There is a chapter in Harry Potter and the Chamber of Serpents, the one nobody talks about because it sits between two more dramatic chapters and does the quiet work of the story without announcing itself, where Harry is sealed inside the chamber alone. No wand, no friends, no plan. Just the dark and the sound of something moving in it and the knowledge that the only way out is through. My editor wanted to cut it. Nothing happens, she said. 4 pages and nothing happens. Everything happens, I said. He finds out what he's made of. She left it in. I am in the chamber now. 4 pages. Everything happening. Chapter 5. December 5th. The silence where Nigel used to be. Day 5, the barricade holds, the world outside does not. 06:47 a.m. Nigel came on at 6:47. He was different this morning, in a way I'm going to try to describe accurately, because I think it matters, and because the changes in Nigel's voice across these days are themselves a document, a graph of institutional composure plotted against reality, and today the line had dropped. It wasn't the words. The words were still controlled, still structured, still BBC. It was the texture beneath the words. The way a very good actor's performance has texture beneath the performance. The thing the character is feeling that the character is not saying, visible only to people who are paying close attention. The presenter was paying too much attention to his own composure. That's what it was. When a person is genuinely calm, their composure is invisible. When a person is working to remain calm, their composure becomes the most visible thing about them. I have written enough characters under pressure to recognize the effort. I recognized it in Nigel's presenter this morning, the way you recognize a held breath. He was holding a breath. He had been holding it since December 1st. Today the breath was audibly effortful. "Good morning," he said. Confirmed cases of HIV-1 in the United Kingdom now stand at 11,240. The government has this morning announced a mandatory national lockdown effective immediately, with all non-essential movement prohibited until further notice. Military checkpoints have been established on all major arterial routes into and out of London. The Prime Minister will address the nation at 8 o'clock. We will bring you that address live. 11,000. Yesterday, 2,314. I wrote the number. I looked at the progression. Day 1, 17. Day 2, 34. Day 3, 347. Day 4, 2,314. Day 5, 11,240. I looked at these numbers for a long time. I am not a mathematician. I am a writer. But I wrote a subplot involving exponential curves for Book 5 that my editor made me cut, and I know what this shape is. I know where this line goes. I closed my notebook. I opened it again. I wrote, the numbers are no longer numbers. They are a direction. They are telling us where this goes. We are going there whether we look at the numbers or not. Better to look. I looked at Nigel. "I know," I said. Nigel played the morning program. At KJ GROWLING 6:58 a.m. Day 5. 11,240. National lockdown, military checkpoints, PM at 8. I want to show you something. Here are the numbers day by day. Day 1, 17. Day 2, 34. Day 3, 347. Day 4, 2,314. Day 5, 11,240. Look at that shape, understand that shape, plan for that shape. I'm not telling you this to frighten you. I'm telling you because you deserve the truth, and the truth is the only thing that will help you make good decisions today. Stay inside. Stay locked. Stay informed. I'll be here. Egg 89, M Speech Balloon 67M. At Steven Vox Hotgear, replying to at KJ GROWLING 7:02 a.m. Good morning. Still here. Slept a few hours. Heard things outside around 3 a.m. that I'm not going to describe because it won't help anyone. Made coffee. Clarkson is by the door. How are you? At KJ GROWLING, replying to at Steven Vox Hotgear 7:04 a.m. Good morning, Steven. Still here. Sounds next door were quieter overnight. Nigel sounds like a man holding a very large breath. Professor Sprout has eaten breakfast and is unimpressed by the apocalypse. How's the letter coming? At Steven Vox Hotgear, replying to at KJ GROWLING 7:06 a.m. Longer than I planned. Turns out I had more to say than I thought. Or maybe the situation makes you honest. Hard to be small about things right now. At KJ GROWLING, replying to at Steven Vox Hotgear 7:07 a.m. Crises are excellent editors. They cut everything that isn't true. Egg 9.4m. 08:00 a.m. The Prime Minister's second address. Transcribed from Nigel. Again, because the words matter. The Prime Minister sounded, this morning, like a man who had not slept. I don't mean this as criticism. I mean it as observation. There is a specific quality to the voice of someone who has been awake in a room with very bad information for a very long time. A flatness, a slight slowing of the delivery, the way the pauses between sentences become fractionally longer as the brain works harder to maintain the performance of normality. He had stopped performing normality entirely by the third paragraph. The situation facing the United Kingdom is serious. I will not stand here and tell you otherwise. HEV1 is spreading at a rate that has exceeded our initial projections, and we are adapting our response accordingly. Effective immediately, all movement outside the home is prohibited except for the following essential purposes. The list was short. Food, medicine, medical emergency. That was the list. I want to speak directly to those of you who may be frightened this morning. What you are facing is real. What our NHS and military are doing in response is real. The government's commitment to protecting the British people is real. I also want to address directly the reports emerging on social media regarding the nature of HEV1's advanced presentation. I want to be clear that individuals in the advanced stages of the virus are receiving care and are being managed by trained emergency personnel. Members of the public should not attempt to engage with or assist individuals displaying advanced symptoms. This is for your safety and for theirs. Finally, the incident at Porton Down yesterday has been contained. I want to reassure the public that there was no breach of any research material and that the incident is unrelated to the current outbreak. I turned Nigel down. The incident at Porton Down has been contained. He said it the way you say a thing you need people to believe rather than a thing you know to be true. I have been listening to politicians for 50 years, and I know the difference between those two sentences even when they wear the same words. I picked up my phone. At KJ GROWLING 8:19 a.m. The incident at Porton Down has been contained. He said it once, quickly, in the third act of the address when people's attention is at its lowest, then moved on. A thing that has genuinely been contained does not need to be addressed in a national emergency address at all. A thing that has genuinely been contained is simply contained. You address it publicly when you need to manage the public's understanding of it. I don't know what happened at Porton Down. I know that I don't believe it's contained. Watch this space. Watch Nigel. Egg 112m speech, balloon 78m. 10:00 a.m. Inventory and condition. I want to document my practical situation clearly because I have made a commitment to precision, and because I think other people reading this from their own locked rooms might find it useful to see a checklist rather than only a narrative. Food, 8 days remaining at current consumption. possibly 10 if I reduce portions. I have tinned tomatoes, tinned chickpeas, tinned sardines, which I have always disliked and am now deeply grateful for, pasta, rice, 2 types of lentils, flour, sugar, salt, 3 tins of soup, 1 tin of Quality Street that I bought for a party I hadn't got around to hosting, and half a Christmas cake that my daughter sent in November that I had been saving for December, and which I am now eating for breakfast without guilt, because the world has revised my relationship with guilt considerably. Water, every container in the house filled. Bathtub filled. 3 large pots on the kitchen counter. The tap is still running, but I don't know for how long. Power still on. I don't know for how long. Nigel fully batteried. Backup batteries in the kitchen drawer. If the power goes, Nigel continues. This feels important in ways that go beyond the practical. Medication. 2 weeks of my regular prescription. Paracetamol, ibuprofen, antihistamines, plasters, 1 ancient tube of antiseptic cream from the back of the bathroom cabinet. Weapons, Severus the fire poker. A kitchen knife I've placed in my study within reach. A heavy marble bookend shaped like an owl that a reader sent me in 2008 that I have always felt vaguely guilty about using as a bookend and am now considering as tactical equipment. I have named it Dumbledore. He would understand. Morale, present. Held together with Earl Grey and bloody-mindedness, and the awareness that 112 million people are reading this, and some of them are making decisions based on what I write, and that is the most serious responsibility I have ever held, and it is keeping me very focused indeed. At KJ GROWLING, 10:14 a.m. Practical inventory posted above. For those of you still able to move today, food, water, medication, in that order. Don't wait. Also, if you have someone you're worried about, someone alone, someone elderly, someone without a Nigel equivalent or an eggs account, call them, text them. Find a way to let them know someone is accounting for them. Mrs. Patel didn't have anyone checking. Don't let that happen to someone you know. Egg 134M speech, balloon 91M. 1:30 p.m. The sounds. I need to document what I am hearing, because I said I would document everything, and I will. The sounds from Mrs. Patel's house come in patterns now. I have been tracking them, time, duration, intensity, direction within the house, with the systematic attention of someone who has decided that understanding the pattern is preferable to being surprised by it. Pattern 1, movement. Slow, irregular, the sound of a body navigating a space without cognitive mapping. This happens throughout the day at unpredictable intervals. Duration, 1 to 4 minutes. Direction, variable, sometimes near the shared wall. Those are the difficult ones. Pattern 2, stillness. Long periods of complete silence that are not restful. The silence of a thing that has stopped moving not because it has settled, but because it is listening. I have noticed, and this is important, I think this is important, that the stillness often follows external sound. A car alarm 2 streets over. The helicopter that passed at 11. My cough once, which I immediately regretted. They listen. I wrote that in my notebook with 2 underlines. They listen. And then, don't make noise. This is more important than I initially understood. Pattern 3, the sound I don't have a word for. Occasional. Brief. The human not human frequency, the almost word. Once, around noon, it was close enough to the shared wall that I could feel it in my chest as much as hear it with my ears. I sat completely still for 4 minutes. I did not move. I did not breathe more than I had to. I thought about Mrs. Patel's hands, which were precise and warm and made extraordinary lamb curry, and I thought, this is not her. This is the virus using what was her. There is a distinction, and the distinction matters for my sanity, and I am keeping it. The sound moved away. I breathed. I wrote it down. At KJ GROWLING 1:47 p.m. Observation from the last few hours that I think is operationally important. They listen. External sound triggers movement toward the sound, including small sounds, including a cough. Silence is not just preferable. Silence is tactical. Pass this on. Egg 156M speech balloon 112 m. At Steven Vox Hotgear, replying to at KJ GROWLING, 1:49 p.m. This matches what I saw from the window at 3 a.m. Something outside stopped completely when a phone went off across the street, turned toward it, fast, then moved toward it fast. KJ, the phone that went off, the person whose phone it was. I don't think they were okay after that. A long silence in our exchange, both of us sitting with what that meant. At KJ GROWLING, replying to at Steven Vox Hotgear, 1:54 p.m. I'm sorry you saw that. You're doing everything right. Stay quiet, stay low, don't go near the windows after dark. How's Clarkson? At Steven Vox Hotgear, replying to at KJ GROWLING, 1:55 p.m. Clarkson is fine, very confident for a cricket bat. I finished the letter. Egg 3.2 m. At KJ GROWLING, replying to at Steven Vox Hotgear, 1:56 p.m. How does it end? At Steven Vox Hotgear, replying to at KJ GROWLING, 1:58 p.m. Honestly, I don't know yet. I know how I want it to end. Not sure the world is cooperating with that plan right now. Also, she has me blocked, so there's a logistical issue. At KJ GROWLING, replying to at Steven Vox Hotgear, 1:59 p.m. The world has a habit of eventually cooperating with the things that are true. In my experience, it takes its time about it and it's infuriating in the interim, but it tends to get there. Keep the letter. Egg 7.8 m. 4:00 p.m. Nigel holds his breath. At 4 o'clock, Nigel did something he had never done in 3 years of sitting on my desk. He went quiet in the middle of a sentence. Not a technical fault, not interference. A human pause, an earpiece moment, a hand on the shoulder of the presenter, a producer in the gallery saying something that required the presenter to stop speaking and receive it before continuing. 7 seconds of silence. In radio terms, 7 seconds of silence is an eternity. It is the sound of the machinery of civilized information, exchange, encountering something it does not have a protocol for. Then, I'm being asked to read the following statement. This is a government emergency broadcast. All citizens are instructed to remain indoors and away from all windows and exterior walls with immediate effect. This instruction applies nationally. Do not open doors. Do not attempt to communicate with individuals outside your property. Emergency services are managing a significant development in the HEV1 situation. Further information will follow. Please remain calm. Please remain inside, please. He stopped. 6 seconds. We'll have more for you shortly. Elgar. Immediate, unscheduled Elgar. I looked at Nigel. I looked at the window. I looked at Severus. I looked at Dumbledore, the marble owl bookend. Please remain calm. 3 instructions and then, please. The please. I have written enough to know what a please means when it arrives in a sentence that didn't have one before. It means the sentence has run out of its official language and hit the human being underneath. The BBC presenter had hit the human being underneath. Nigel was playing Elgar. Something had happened. I did not go to the window. I picked up my phone with hands that were, I note this carefully, not entirely steady this time. At KJ GROWLING 4:08 p.m. Nigel just broke mid-sentence. Government emergency broadcast. All citizens away from windows and exterior walls. Immediately. Nationally. A significant development in the HEV1 situation. I don't know what that means. I know it's the sentence they use when they know what it means, and they're not ready to tell us yet. Away from windows. Do it now. I'm away from the window. Nigel is playing Elgar. I'm staying at my desk. Egg 201 m speech balloon 167 m. At Steven Vox Hotgear replying to at KJ GROWLING 4:09 p.m. Away from window, in the corridor, Clarkson with me. KJ, what was the Porton Down incident? It wasn't a question. He knew I didn't know. He was thinking out loud. I was thinking it too. At KJ GROWLING, replying to at Steven Vox Hotgear 4, 11 p.m. I think Porton Down was the cure. I think they were trying to make something to stop this. I think whatever they made got out. I think significant development is what happens when what they made meets what was already out there. I think we need to be very, very quiet and very, very still for a while. At Steven Vox Hotgear replying to at KJ GROWLING 4, 13 p.m. Jenna. I sat in my study with my back against the wall between the window and the door with Severus across my knees and Dumbledore in my left hand and Professor, Sprout in my lap, making the small motor sound of a creature that has decided this is a reasonable place to be, and Nigel playing Elgar in the corner. And I thought about what was outside. Not the infected as I had understood them, the feverish, erratic, sound-triggered people, who were still people that I had been watching and documenting and filing into the terrible category of the virus, using what was someone. Something after that. Something that the government's cure had found and changed. I didn't know yet what that something looked like. I would know soon. I was not ready. Nobody was ready. But I had Severus and Dumbledore and Professor Sprout and Nigel, and 112 million people reading, and a man from Cape Town in a corridor 3 miles away, with a cricket bat named Clarkson. And I thought, this is what you have. It's enough. It has to be enough. Write it down. 9:47 p.m. NIGELSBEAKS again. Elgar ran for 4 hours and 40 minutes. I know this because I timed it. I sat against the wall and I timed it, and I wrote the time in my notebook, because documentation is what I have and what I am, and what I was doing long before any of this, and what I will be doing when it's over. 4 hours and 40 minutes of Elgar. Then Nigel's presenter came back. He sounded different. Not the carefully maintained composure of this morning. Not even the cracking composure of yesterday. Something else. Something I can only describe as stripped. The way a voice sounds when everything that was performance in it has been removed by something large enough to do that. The way soldiers' voices sound in interviews filmed immediately after, and doctors' voices after very long shifts, and parents' voices in hospitals at 3 in the morning. Just the voice, just the truth in it, nothing between them. Good evening. I need to be honest with you about what I know and what I don't know, because I think that's what this moment requires. At approximately 3 o'clock this afternoon, the government's emergency response team initiated what was described to us as a therapeutic intervention protocol, an attempt to use a modified agent developed at Porton Down to alter the progression of HEV1 in affected individuals. The results of this intervention have not been what was hoped. Individuals who received or were exposed to the modified agent are displaying a changed presentation, different from the standard HEV1 advanced stage. The government is describing this as an unexpected variable, and I want to be transparent with you and tell you that I am reading from a prepared statement, and that the prepared statement is not telling me everything, and that I think you deserve to know that. What we can tell you is this: stay inside. Stay away from windows, do not open doors, do not make noise. We will have more information for you as... He stopped. Not an earpiece pause, not a producer's hand. A personal stop, a man reaching the limit of what he could say in the voice he'd been maintaining. A breath. Then, quietly, off script, the most honest thing Nigel had said in 5 days. Please look after each other. Elgar again. I looked at the wall. I looked at my notebook. I looked at the date. December 5th. I wrote, they changed. The cure changed them. Something is outside now that wasn't outside this morning. Nigel asked us to look after each other. He said, please. I put down the pen. I picked up my phone. At KJ GROWLING, 9:54 p.m. Nigel just told us. The cure changed them. Unexpected variable, changed presentation. The presenter went off script at the end. He said, please look after each other. A BBC presenter went off script on a national emergency broadcast. I want you to sit with what that means. And then I want you to do what he said. Look after each other. I'm going to tell you what I think this means tomorrow when I've had time to think it through properly. Tonight I'm just going to sit here with that sentence. Please look after each other. It's good advice regardless. Stay inside. Stay quiet. Shoes on. I love you all. Yes, I said it. Pandemic rules. I'm allowed. KJ. Egg 289. M speech balloon 201 M. At Steven Vox Hotgear, replying to at KJ GROWLING, 9:57 p.m. Still here. Heard something outside about an hour ago. Different from before. It was tall. Egg 4. 4M. I read that last line and felt the cold of it move through me cleanly from my throat to my feet. It was tall. 2 words. The whole shape of what was coming in 2 words. A 32-year-old man from Cape Town, sitting alone in a hostile corridor in the dark, with a cricket bat and an unfinished letter and a guitar and 412 subscribers on YouTube, had looked out of a window he'd been told not to look out of and seen the thing the cure had made. And distilled it to 2 words. It was tall. I sat for a long time with that. Then I wrote it in my notebook. I underlined it. I looked at my locked door. I looked at Nigel. Elgar. Of course. End of chapter 5. December 5th, KJ GROWLING's Eggs posts, 19. Peak concurrent readers, 289 million. HIV-1 confirmed cases, 11,240. The number has stopped mattering as a number. Porton down, not contained, was never contained, the cure got out. The changed ones, present, different, tall. Nigel, off script, Elgar holding. Mrs. Patel's house, active, quiet now, listening. Severus, ready. Dumbledore, ready. Professor Sprout, on KJ's lap, warm, present, correct. Steven Vox, corridor, dark, Clarkson in hand, has seen one. Tall. The letter, finished, kept. Victoria, in Germany, blocked, unaware. Or not in Germany. The story has not decided yet. But the story is deciding. Chapter 6 follows. December 6th, the tall ones. In which KJ sees one for the first time from her window despite everything she told everyone else about windows. In which the taxonomy of what the cure made becomes clear. The listening, the height, the hands at the ears, the terrible patience of them. In which Nigel's presenter misses his first broadcast. In which Steven Vox makes a decision that will change everything. And in which a man named Sergeant Marcus Dalton, 40 years old, SAS, currently on foot in South London, begins moving north.
If you would like to know more about history on a specific person, time or place, or even just fictional creativity like adventure, horror, zombie survival, take a moment and drop us a comment down below for your request, or send us a mail and the team here at Wolfcroft Stories will be glad to mention your preferred name as to the inspiration to the video to the story. If you enjoyed this story and want to know, learn or listen to more like these, why not give us a like and subscribe for more. Wishing you a safe and grand week ahead from the team at Wolfcroft Stories.